Let's talk about the trap in corporate culture that no one sees coming. It's not a toxic boss or policy. It's something you've been praised for. Your greatest virtue. Sounds surprising, right? But this virtue might be the one thing that's quietly sinking your career. Your sense of responsibility. Picture this. You're leading a project, a real mess. Something broken that nobody else wanted to touch. You work nights, you fight for resources, you clean up the disaster, and you succeed. You save the day. Here's what you hope happens next. A reward, maybe a new challenge, a step forward. Here's what actually happens next. You get called into the big office. You're praised, promoted even. And then they slide a new folder across the table. It contains not one, but 3 more disasters, each uglier than the last. We need you on this, they say. You're the only one we trust to handle it. Here's the cruel twist. Solve one impossible problem, and what do you get? The privilege of facing even bigger, more impossible problems. And it doesn't stop there. The moment you step into the spotlight, you're chained to it. Your reward is the new set of burdens waiting for you. Your greatest strength, your reliability, your sense of duty has just been weaponized against you. It's no longer a trait you have. It's a hook in your flesh. And the company has the fishing line. The more you struggle to prove how responsible you are, the deeper it sets. If you're watching this and nodding, you're probably in what I call the competency quicksand. You've become the go-to name for a specific kind of crisis. Got a legacy system collapsing? Call Sarah. Need a toxic team turned around? Get Mark. You're not a person with skills anymore. You're a specialized tool. A human fire extinguisher mounted permanently on the wall next to the most flammable room. You've given an open-ended guarantee. Even after you move on from a project, if it stumbles, your phone rings. You built this, they imply. You understand it. Your past responsibility has become a lifetime warranty you never meant to issue. Here's the catch. Your value is no longer tied to your potential. It's all about how well you can manage the chaos around you. Promotions stop being about innovation. They become about how reliably you can handle disasters. But does that sound like a future you want? Keep watching to see how this will evolve. Trying to do something else is seen as a betrayal of your unique gift, which is just a polite way of saying, get back in your cage. This isn't being valued. This is being institutionalized. So why does this happen? Because the company isn't being mean. It's being efficient. It's running a cold, simple calculation on you. First calculation, you are now a bad investment to lose. Training someone new to be as responsible, as trusted, as willing to bleed for the company as you are, that's expensive and risky. You've proven you'll do the hard things. So the cheapest, smartest move for the company is to keep giving you the hard things until you break. Your sense of duty has made you too expensive to replace and too valuable to set free. Second calculation, you have become your job description. After years of being the supply chain guru or the compliance fixer, that's who you are in the system's database. You're a category. When there's a meeting about the future, they don't see Alex, a smart strategist. They see Alex from supply chain. Your history has built a box around you. Your opinions are now the supply chain perspective. Your career is held hostage by your own expertise. Third calculation. Your relationships are now company property. All those connections you built across departments to get your heroic project done, that trust network you spun, the company views that as infrastructure you built on their land. They believe it belongs to the role, not to you. If you try to leave, they'll tell you it's a shame to let that network go to waste. Your personal capital has been quietly nationalized. And the cruelest part? The better you are at your job, the faster you sink. Did you tie your personal reputation to a project's success? Congratulations. You just gave the company your reputation as collateral. They know you'll do anything to protect it, including taking on the next nightmare. Did you go above and beyond, fixing problems outside your lane? That showed leadership potential. In corporate speak, that means can handle more undefined, messy responsibility. Did you ever smooth things over, shield your team from upstairs, bend a tiny rule to get the right thing done? That proves you're a pragmatic problem solver. It also gives the system a tiny invisible leash. You value results over rules, which makes you both useful and manageable. So what's your future once you're properly tagged and bound? Future 1, the Gilded Cage. You get the big title, VP of Critical Initiatives. You're in the important meetings, but your entire purpose is to be the adult in the room for the company's self-created crises. You are the chief janitor with a corner office. Future 2, the addiction loop. They feed you bigger and bigger emergencies. Each success gets you a hit of praise and a bigger, scarier problem. You're locked in a dopamine cycle of crisis and reward. Stopping feels like failure. Future 3, the Ghost Protocol. You get a special secret mandate. You bypass red tape. Wasn't it? You report directly to the top. This feels like power, but it's power made of mist. It exists only as long as you stay in that one weird unofficial role. The second you try to step into a normal job, it vanishes. You're left with nothing. The ancient logic here is simple. The best way to control a valuable person is not to chain them, but to convince them to chain themselves, to make their own pride, their own sense of honor, the lock on the door. In a modern company, your responsibility is your self-installed tracking device. The company just watches the signal and sends more work to your coordinates. Realizing this is the first step. It means the exhaustion you feel isn't just from hard work. It's the weight of a structural tax you're paying for the privilege of being seen as reliable. Stop trying to be more responsible. Start asking if you're being responsible for the right things. Are you solving problems, or are you just becoming a permanent part of the problem management system? We've talked about the visible trap, the tasks, the titles, but there's something even more insidious. A quieter, invisible layer of control that most people never see coming. It's the voice in your own head telling you to stay in line, even when no one is watching. What happens when that voice becomes your prison? The next part might just change how you see your career forever. It's the invisible fence you've absorbed. That's where the real engineering begins. But this isn't the end of the story. Next time, we'll dive into something even more perplexing. Why no one tells you what to do, but you still can't escape the system's grip. Stay tuned for the next part, where we break down the rules no one dares to question. Until then, remember, the most secure prison is the one where you volunteer for guard duty.